Look, I've thrown it out there, and I might be being super provincial with the idea that Kobe Bryant in Detroit always had a unique relationship. First of all the NBA teams he played, his lowest points per game average came against us. Kobe Bryant was almost traded here on a couple of occasions. Once was for Grant Hill. Another one was in 2007. We'll get to that in a minute. It seemed as though there was a great amount of respect for the way Kobe played the game in Detroit fans. I would love to see, this is an impossible stat to have, but in Kobe's final game in every gym, I would love to know which gym had the highest percentage of Kobe jerseys. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which visiting arena had the highest percentage of Kobe jerseys? How did we stack up? I have no way of knowing that we had more Kobe jerseys than others. I have no way of knowing.
You just say it.
I just
Just say it.
But this story is linked on our website. We tweeted out earlier. It's revisiting did Kobe almost become a Piston? A person was directly involved in the negotiations told CBS Sports the deal was done. We were just waiting to set up the conference call with the league. It was 2007. Kobe had requested a trade. He was frustrated by the Lakers' elimination from the playoffs. According to one account from a person briefed on the timeline, Dumars was at a preseason game against the Mavericks when he got a call from Mitch Kupchak, who spoke the following words, quote, "We're good to go." According to the story, Kobe even signed off on playing for the Pistons. Detroit was on the list, the person said, on the following conditions. Chauncey Billups, Rasheed Wallace, and Ben Wallace couldn't be included in the deal.
So that he get to play with them.
Yep. Kobe had signed off on the deal. He approved two teams, Chicago and Detroit, if the two Wallaces and Chauncey were there. So I'm going to presume that what?
Tayshaun and Rip.
Tayshaun and Rip were going the other direction, and I'm going to presume probably I'm going to guess a couple of number ones. Would a starting five of Bryant, Billups, Tayshaun, Rasheed, and Ben, so maybe not Tayshaun, have won more than the two additional titles Bryant got with Gasol in Los Angeles? What superstar free agent or trade target would the Lakers ultimately have landed with all the assets acquired from Detroit in the deal? This is from the story. Really interesting.
Oh, it's very interesting to think that the Pistons were that close to acquiring Kobe Bryant, really in the kind of prime of his career there. Mm-hmm. 2007, he was 28 years old. He was coming off a 31-point season. Yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
Khang, where did you see the one for Grant Hill from earlier?
Yeah, there was a rumor that I believe it was in the 2000 season that the Pistons wanted to trade Grant Hill for Kobe. Kobe wasn't in the beginning of his career in L.A., it wasn't exactly all roses. You know what I mean? He wasn't starting as much. He wasn't playing as much. And when he was playing, he wasn't, living up to what he considered he wanted to be the greatest player ever, right away. And it wasn't happening right away. Happened very shortly after that. But, yeah. And it was Grant Hill that was offered up. And Jerry West didn't want to do it, for good reason.
I could see that one being a straight up, right?
Yeah, because Grant Hill, they ended up trading Grant Hill to Orlando, and Pistons ended up winning a championship, so it works out for the Pistons also. But who knows how many championships they could have won with Kobe. But, yeah, that was not as definitive as the most recent one you read, Doug, but that was the other one. So twice he could have possibly became a Piston.
This one is confirmed. The website I found it on, let's click on Detroit, and there's a quote from Phil Jackson saying that, legacy of the Lakers might not happen. A trade in 1990 went through. According to former Laker coach Phil Jackson, the Pistons offered to trade Grant Hill for Bryant. Now, obviously, they said, no, this wasn't we're good to go.
Like the other one.
Yep. But, that's that would have been relatively early in his career before he was established.
The 2007 one's interesting because you think about what the team was at that time. They won the championship in 2004. Mm-hmm. They come really close in 05, but just shy. And then it goes downhill, right? It starts to go downhill. They're very competitive, but this starts to go downhill.
So is this after the 06-07 season, are we presuming?
I would assume that.
Okay. Because I'm just looking at this Pistons roster. You would add a 30-year-old Chauncey, a 32-year-old Rashid. Now, see, Ben Wallace
was
gone by then.
Was that the first year he was gone?
Yeah.
So maybe we can't.
Maybe they wouldn't have got rid of him.
Well, they didn't get rid of him. He left for free agency.
Right. Maybe they would have made sure they kept him. That's what I mean.
And from what I remember, I believe Kobe had a list of teams he wanted to go to, and the Pistons weren't on that list. But I think the Pistons might have had the best to offer.
No, the story said it was the story said Detroit and Chicago were on the list.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Detroit was only on the list. It said Kobe signed off on the deal. He'd approved two teams, Chicago and Detroit, if the two Wallaces and Chauncey were still there. But that was the first year Big Ben was gone, so they would have had to sign him in free agency. And made it work that way, but I would have liked to have seen what happened then.
Yeah. Yeah. That would have been interesting. Yeah. You throw in draft picks too, and the Pistons weren't exactly drafting great back then. So,
in retrospect, if it were Tayshaun, Rip, and two first round picks, yeah, that would have been highway robbery because their picks would have been low first round picks. They wouldn't have really mattered. And then you have a player that people want to play with, so you could sign something a little bit better than a Nazi Muhammad.
Pretty much anything offered would have been highway robbery. The Pistons don't draft well at all, and Kobe Bryant is one of the greatest players of all time. So,
God, how did the Lakers? You know what the story doesn't say? This doesn't say why it didn't happen. All it says is it got approved.
From what I remember, what happened was I think Jerry West got involved and said, "Listen, Kobe, do you want to be a Laker, a real Laker for your entire career, a Laker for life?" Sat him down and kind of got his mind straight and his mind right about you're making an emotional decision here, and he thought about it and it was like, "Yeah, I do want to be a Laker for life." So, and that was the end of it, and went on to have obviously a great career.
Damn it, Jerry West.
God, watching him talk about it was heartbreaking. It was like he lost his grandson.
Yeah,
like he had known the kid professionally since 17, probably started scouting him earlier than that, knew he wanted him draft day. It's been part of his career ever since. And Jerry West I think he's like 80 now or something, said, "I don't know how long it's going to take me to get over this." Jerry West, the logo himself, was inconsolable, it looked like.
Getting back to the almost trade, this is from the Detroit Free Press today, I think. Yeah, or last night, I guess. And it's ironic. As originally reported by WXYT AM 1270 in 2007.
That's us.
The Lakers agreed to trade Bryant to the Pistons for Rip Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince, Amir Johnson, and a first-round pick.
Oh, my God.
Bryant said in 2015 that he used his no-trade clause to kill the deal.
So there's mixed reports on whether or not. I mean, maybe Detroit was on the list and he decided, I don't want to go there if they don't have Amir Johnson. Wow. Well, I do. Hey, remember how much Amir Johnson was just wait until he's ready. Just wait. Amir Johnson's going to lead the next wave of Pistons.
Well, what he said was, I guess Kobe is quoted as saying, it hit me that I didn't really want to walk out on Dr. Buss. Because I think Jerry Buss, the owner, had died recently.
248-539-9797. Ticket text 97136. Well, it certainly would have been a massive, massive trade. Maybe one of the biggest in Detroit sports history. Probably the biggest in Detroit sports history.
Well, the Pistons did one better. They got the number one pick in that draft when they traded for Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
A little later.
Yeah.
Nowhere near.
Yeah, did not quite.
No,
work
that
out.
would have been. I mean, that's a trade, right? That is.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
good grief, to think what could have happened.
I mean, two current starters, a guy that everybody thought was going to be a future star and a first-round pick for Kobe Bryant, was good enough for the Lakers. They were in.
Well, that's how bad things gotten over there. Kobe said he didn't even trust the organization anymore. And I don't think it might not have been Jerry West, but I think it was actually Jerry Buss that maybe sat down with Kobe and said, listen, Laker for life, man. This means something, you know? And got his trust back. And then Laker for life.
Well, that whole thing this weekend, the top 4 scorers in NBA history were all Lakers.
Of like all-time scorers?
Yeah.
Well, because LeBron now is the Lakers.
Yeah. Kareem, Kobe, LeBron, and Wilt. Is that what it is?
Well, Karl Malone's second in all-time
Well,
scoring.
then it's Karl Malone. My bad. 248-539-9797. We'll get to more of your feedback and phone calls on this. Also, anyone from the Senior Bowl make a good Detroit Lion? We'll get to that at 1:35. 97.1 The Ticket.